Oh, I always do this. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Today's a big day. Today is my 1 year pet anniversary. Like that.
That's good.
On the way to the hospital here shortly. So we won't find out the results for a few days, but I anticipate everything to be just fine. So it's almost 2 years to the day that I've been gone. So yeah, before deployment, we knew like I don't know, a year ahead of time that we were going to be going, and you move on. I mean, so they told us, and we kind of forgot about it. We still went along, lived our life like we normally would, and yeah, you just kind of go, and then eventually you're packing your bags and you're getting ready to fly out. So yeah, it was crazy. And at the time, Elise was pregnant. Like the day we were leaving, Elise was like 3 months pregnant or something like that, and yeah. I was excited to go, not that, excited to leave her, but I was excited to be deployed, to have an experience to experience a new country, new culture, new people. So I was excited. I mean, I was ready to go. She was pretty much terrified because now, she has me to kind of help out as little as I did, but, still helping out. Now she's going to have to do it all on her own. With the kids, like I said, she was pregnant, so she's gonna have to go through that whole thing a few months down the road. So we left. First stop was for some training in Texas, and then we would be there for a couple of months. And I loved it. I loved, waking up, going to train with your bros. That was just it was a good time. And so, the 2 months came. Elise came to Texas for a few days, and we hung out and we spent some time together. And then we were on the bird, and we were headed overseas. First stop was Kuwait for a couple of months. Everybody goes to Kuwait, it's whatever. But yeah, first stop was Kuwait. We did do some work there, and pretty much all you would do is you would wake up, go and do your job, and then you just go to the gym. Like that was what you did. And again, I loved it. I loved hanging out with my buddies and, doing that whole thing. And then the next stop after that was to Iraq, which was where I'd spend the rest of my time deployed. And I should back up a little bit. While I was deployed, I was constantly having nosebleeds. Like 3 times a month, I would have these nosebleeds, and they weren't just these small little, you pinch your nose and they go away in a couple of minutes. These things were major. Like it would take me like 25 minutes to get these things to stop, and I just figured it was because we were in a dry, dusty climate, and it's just nasty. There's constantly the wind's blowing dust around, and who knows whatever else. Sandstorm. Kinda. So I didn't think anything of it. And my plan was, once we are, getting ready to go back home, I'd get it checked out by a doc, they'd cauterize the capillary, and I'd be good to go. So whatever, kept trucking along. Finally, we go back to Kuwait and we're getting ready to go home. So that's when you start getting excited. You start to pack bags, you send them home. Yeah, I mean, it's a real exciting time. Like I said, I go to the doctor to get this thing checked out. He does an examination, and he gets this long scope, and he's like, sticking it in your nose, and he goes into my left nostril, and then he's just silent. He's talking, then he's silent, and he asks me. This is how he said. He's like, "How old are you?" And I told him how old I was, and then he takes the thing out and he says, "Follow me." So we go into the next room, which is an MRI room, and so he get me all set up to do an MRI. We do the MRI. I go meet the doc, and he's kind of saying that, okay, we found something. There's something in there that doesn't belong. And so now we're looking at medevacing you. So that was just like a total shock. That came out of left field. Here I am preparing to, in a few weeks, go home, and now he's talking about medevacing me. It's crazy. So, I called Elise, let her know what's going on, and we weren't too concerned. We just figured this was going to be a situation where wherever they medevac me, get it taken care of, and I'll be back to back in Ohio to demo with my unit and and go from there. So they medevac me to first Germany. They don't do anything in Germany. They just confirm that there's something in there that doesn't belong. And while we're in Germany, we're trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to go? Japan was thrown out there. Walter Reed, that was an option. I said, well, there's an Air Force base near my house. Why don't we just, send me there to get my treatment, or to get my treatment there. Also, I think it was the Ohio State University Medical Center. That was where in fact, the doctors were in contact with my the unit in Germany. That the people in Columbus were expecting me. So I just figured I was going to go home and get this thing taken care of and link back up with my unit at the appropriate time. And while I was there, they check you out real good. And while I was there, they put me on blood pressure medication because my blood pressure was just crazy. Which, of course, why wouldn't it be? I just here I am living with my living life one way, and all of a sudden get pulled out of it and thrown into another way. So of course I'm freaked out. Heck yeah, why wouldn't you be? You'd be crazy if you weren't. So they put me on blood pressure meds, and that they didn't really tell me anything about it. They just said, here, take these once a day. Here's the milligrams. You're good to go. So I said, okay. You're the doctor. You should know what you're talking about. So it winds up I get medevaced to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, which is an awesome place. I absolutely loved it there. Wasn't where I thought I was going to go, but that's where I wound up. So I let Elise know, the situation. That's where I am. So a couple of days goes by, and I'm taking these meds, and I'm talking to Elise saying that these things are these meds. I don't know if it's just my anxiety going crazy or it's these meds, but I'm having heart, chest pains, just feeling really weird. And my intent was to Monday morning. I was going to see a doctor anyway, but inform the doctor what was going on, and so I go to sleep, and then I just a few hours later shoot up out of my bed. I've had panic attacks before, and that's kind of what this felt like. My chest, my heart was just beating so fast. I don't know if it was palpitations or what it was, but my heart rate was through the roof. I got out of the room trying to walk this off. And there's a cadre member. He's on duty, and I go let him know what's going on. He takes me into the other room. We sit down. He's trying to talk me down, and that's not working. And I'm freaking out. So I wind up going to the emergency room, and it just felt the whole time. I just felt nothing was real. Everything, was. It's really hard to explain now, but it just felt like I said, nothing was real. So on the way to a hospital, and I'm thinking this guy's who's driving, he's taking his time to get me to the hospital. I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, you need to go. What are you doing? And he tells me, well, we got to go the long way around. I'm like, oh, around. Okay, sure we do. Long way around. You got it. So we pull up to the gate, which you have to go through the gate to get to the hospital. And there's a car in front of us talking to the gate guard, who's a cop. He's a full-time cop. And they're just talking, taking his time. We're waiting. I'm freaking. I'm thinking this guy's doing this on purpose, so I don't get to the hospital. My heart's gonna explode out of my chest. This is all part of the plan. So I get out of the car. I yell something, and the cop kind of looks, and he goes about his business talking to this guy. And everything is everything is just falling apart around me. So there's a water bottle next to me. I get out of the car, I take this water bottle, and I throw it at this cop. Whack, hits me right in the chest. That got his attention. He looks up, and the car pulls off. It happened to be another cop. I didn't realize that till we left. Another cop talking to another cop. And the cadre member explains to him, hey, this is what's going on. We have an emergency. He's got to go. They let us go. I still have never found that cop. I wish I could have just to apologize. So I get to the hospital and dude, this is just it's all so crazy. I mean, in my head I can see it. It's just so hard to like put words to it. I felt like I was in a dream. I was trying to wake myself up. Like I'm here at the hospital walking around doing this stuff, but in my mind I'm thinking I'm back in my room. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I thought I was dead or whatever. I did think that. So I'm thinking like this is just like a terrible nightmare that I just can't wake up from. So I go to the hospital, I'm shouting like, wake up, trying to wake myself up. I'm literally yelling, wake up, there's people in the lobby. These doctors have like, their eyes are like saucers, they're just wide-eyed. All of a sudden I noticed like security, lots of security starts coming into the lobby. I decide, they try to take me into the back, and what I thought what they were gonna do is get me back there and like do some terrible torture tests to me or something. So I tried to leave. Actually, matter of fact, I did. I left the emergency room, and I just start walking. I figured this is my fate. This is like how I'm gonna spend eternity, or just walking in the middle of the night, to nowhere. I just felt like I guess that was what I was gonna do, and I was just resigned to that fate. Well, I start walking, and then out of the hospital comes this several doctors and cops. And one a cop car pulls up in front of me, cop gets out, and I just stood there and look at him. Turn around and go back to the house, but I was just defeated. My head was down, I shrugged my shoulders and I just walked. They take me inside and they're walking. Doctors right here walked with me, talking to me, trying to like calm me down, trying to find like some kind of like mutual ground with me. I don't know what he was trying to do. Like 3 or 4 cops are behind me, so if I made a move, these dudes were gonna take me out. They're just gonna like tear me up. We get to this room, and the doctor's like, "You need to go inside," and I'm like, "I'm not going there." Doctor's like, we're here to help you. Those things, and in my mind, like, I'm not thinking right. I don't know, what happens. What happened was my sodium level had dropped. Really low, like dangerously low, and it's just crazy what the chemical imbalance will do to you. So I figured these guys are trying to get me in this room, they're gonna strap me down, like just start like amputating limbs, no anesthesia, and I'm gonna just deal with this, and then I'm gonna wake up, and this is all gonna happen for the rest of eternity. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So he keeps trying to get me to go in this room. I say, I'm not going in this room, I'm not gonna do it. And finally, I don't know what I said, but he said, well, you're either going to go in there on your own, or we're going to pick you up and carry you in. So I sat there, and there's really, nowhere I could go. So I just decided to go into the room. So I went down, I'm like sitting on the bed, like I'm ready to make a move. These guys try anything funny, like it's on. And I was serious about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was going to fight if I had to. So they started hooking up all these things. They hook up an EKG, they're taking blood out of this arm. They give me an Ativan or something to calm me down, and I thought it was poison or something, so I'm breaking this thing into like quarters, like 4 super small pieces, and I'm taking them. And I asked, I need to call my wife, I need to talk to my wife, and they're like, yeah, we'll get to that. And so they're coming in and talking to me, and I started to come down a little bit. They're giving me fluids and stuff, and finally they bring this phone to me, and they say, here, you can talk to your wife. And I just thought, I thought it was a regular phone, so I picked it up, and it was nothing. And I was like, nice try, guys. And I gave the phone back. They were just like toying me along, you know what I mean, like messing with me. And it turned out what had to happen is it was a real phone. You just had to plug it into the wall to make a call. So yeah, I called Elise, and like the nurses talked to her, letting her know what was going on. She was talking to me, and the whole time I was like asking her, like, are you real? Like, is this like real? How, you know what I mean? I had no idea. Kept asking her if this is real. Are you really there? Are you know what's going on? So yeah, that was crazy. Then they got me situated. And like I said, what happened was the pills they put me on in Germany just like drained the sodium out of my body. And I was drinking lots of water, wasn't eating any salt. So it was just like a perfect storm. So I wound up in ICU for a couple days. As a matter of fact, that was where Elise and I we saw each other for the first time, I was in ICU, had all this crap hooked up to me. So it wasn't the homecoming that either one of us had thought or had planned for. So yeah, she was there, and yeah, me in ICU. And she had only planned on being there for a few days just to, get me situated, and she was going to turn out and go home. And so while we're there, we're in the hospital, and all the team of doctors, they come to meeting me and talking to me, and this kid always scoping me, checking this thing out in my nasal cavities where it was. And so the day came where they were going to do my biopsy. So we did the biopsy, and they were kind of talking like what our expectations were, what we thought we were going to find. So they do the biopsy, and I got it's terrible. I got this packing in my nose, and it's just super uncomfortable. I got this drippy pad on my face, and it's just nasty. It's just anytime you mess with your sinuses, your nasal cavities, it's just nasty. Painful, yucky. So they do that, and then we're waiting for the results. We wait for a few days, and they get the results of the biopsy, and that's when we got the news.